Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Let me introduce myself. Hello, my name is Fitria Amalia Putri. I'm from Chemistry C, Faculty of Science and Technology from the Maulana Malik Ibrahim State Islamic University. In this video, I will explain you about my summary about chemical hazard. What is chemical hazard? Chemical hazard. Many of the chemicals used in the lab are potentially dangerous, especially under high heat pressure, or when they are mixed with other chemicals. There are two main tools that we use to identify chemical hazard: safety data sheets and chemical labels. Every chemical in the lab is required to have a technical document called a safety data sheet, or SDS. Usually provided by the manufacturer. These were formerly known as material safety data sheets, or MSDs. The safety data sheets is a one-stop shop to find out about chemicals, properties, hazard, and safety precautions. Now, the location of the safety data sheets in your lab, and review them before working with a chemicals for the first time. GHS is an acronym for the Globally Harmonized System of Classification and Labeling of Chemicals. This new system provides an international standard format for safety data sheets. All SDS must now be organized into 16 sections. What is 16 section? This is in here. We know this is picture all kinds of pictograms. Health hazard, flammability, compressed gas, corrosive, explosive, oxiders, environmental, acute toxicity, and other hazards. This is 16 section. Section 1 is identification. Section 2 is hazard identification. Section 3 is composition. Section 4 is first aid. Section 5 is first fighting. Section 6 is accidental release. Section 7 is handling and storage. Section 8 is exposure control and personal protection. Section 9 is physical and chemical properties. Section 10 is stability and reactivity. Section 11 is toxicological. Section 12 is ecological. Section 13 is disposal. Section 14 is transport. Section 15 is a regulatory consideration, and the last section is other info. I will explain about the 16 section. Section 1 is identification. This is identification. Here you will find the chemical's name, description, and the manufacturer's contact information. In the section 2 is hazard identification. Hazard identification, this section lists signal words, warning, and safety. In the section 3 is composition. Composition, a list of ingredients. In the section 4 is first aid. First aid measures what the required treatment for a person who's been exposed. In the section 5 is firefighting. Firefighting measures. In the next section is section 6 is accidental release. Accidental release measure, these are instruction for containment and cleanup of spills or leaks. In the section 7 is handling and storage. Handling and storage requirement. In the next section is section 8, exposure controls and personal protection. This describes OSHA's exposure limits and recommendation for PP. In the section 9 is physical and chemical properties such as appearance, odor, pH, flash point, solubility, and evaporation rate. In the section 10 is stability and reactivity. Stability and reactivity, how to avoid hazardous reactions. In the section 11 is toxicological information to find out about the likely routes of exposure systems as well as short and long-term effect. Section 12 to 16 around mandatory but should at least be familiar with them. In ecological, the section 12 is ecological, the section 13 is disposal, the section 14 is transport, regulatory consideration, and the last section is other info. This where you will find the date that the SDS was prepared along with the last known revision safety data sheet provide a lot of information about how to use chemicals safely in the lab. But there's also another way to learn about the chemical, and that's by reading its label. The new GHS format requires each chemical in the lab to be labeled with the product name, a signal word such as danger or patient physical health and environmental hazard statement, precautionary statement, pictograms, first aid instruction, and the suppress contact information. This is a chemical hazard symbol, environmental hazard, acutely toxic gas under pressure, corrosive, explosive, flammable, moderate hazard, oxiding, health hazard, and other symbol of the toxic chemical hazard. These pictograms consist of a symbol on a white background frame in a red border. Each pictogram represents a specific hazard: health, flammability, toxicity, compressed gases, skin and eye protection, unstable explosive, oxiders, and oxider is a chemical that initiates combustion through the release of oxygen. Environmental hazard and acute toxicity. Now we know how to identify potential chemical hazard by looking at both safety data sheets and chemical level. The next, that's all in my point. I hope you get my point, and I hope my video can be useful and increase knowledge. Thank you, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.